Okay, so after Top Gun last week, it's kind of in the mood for some more kind of military bullshit, right? So I checked out the new joint on Netflix called Interceptor. Okay, so it's an Australian kind of film. It's directed by Matthew Reilly, who co-wrote it along with Stuart Beattie. Producing the film is Beattie, Matthew Stewart, and Michael Burnham. Executive produced by Peter D. Graves, Chris Hemsworth, Christopher Mape, Kylie Mascord, Kathy Morgan, Robert Salverio, and Pam Collis, line producers. Music is from Michael Lira. Cinematography is Ross Emery. It's edited by Rowan Mayer. Casting was handled by George Apps and Michelle Lewitt. And production design was handled by George Liddell. So our cast. Well, we have got Captain J.J. Collins, played by Elsa Pataky. I think that's how you say it. Corporal Raphael Shah is played by Mayan Mehta. Captain John Welsh is played by Paul Cesar. Ensign Washington is played by Belinda Jumbo. General Dyson is played by Marcus Johnson. President Wallace, Zoe Carrids. And General Crowthorne is played by Kim Nucky. Then we've got Alexander, what his home is? Kessel, that's it. Alexander Kessel is played by Luke Bracey. Beaver Baker is played by Aaron Glennon. So, yeah. We've also got Holly Simmons, played by Riley Dandy. Nikolai is played by Stephen A. Davis. Frank Collins is played by Colin Friels. Dark Cloud is played by Ali Kadim. Kira is played by Ingrid Klenning. McHale is played by Steve Morris. Yeah, that's kind of our main lot of people, I kind of think. Okay, right. I've just seen something which explains the salesperson footage. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That will make sense now. Well, the gist of the story is this. When a simultaneous coordinated attack threatens the base itself, Collins comes face to face with the charismatic yet crooked Alexander Kessel, a former US military intelligence officer intent on carrying out an unthinkable plan. With only minutes on the clock, Collins must utilize her years of tactical training and military expertise to determine who she can trust and stop Kessel and his covert mercenaries from completing their twisted and terrible mission. Bum, bum, bum. So, yeah, I mean, it is your kind of, you know what it feels like? Kind of an NCIS. I feel that's it. Or what was that other one? Jag, right? It kind of feels like an extended episode of one of those shows with probably a bit more, you know, shooting and explosions. But yeah, it's because, you know, the the story is kind of like, okay, I mean, this is intriguing. You know, there's two, supposedly, right? We were told at the beginning there are two interceptor bases, one in Alaska, one in on a rig in the middle of the ocean, and they are there to intercept any nuclear missile launch from Russia. You know what I mean? So when you think Russia's a big place and there's only these two places to stop any potential crazy, so obviously, right? You take out those places. So yeah, we you know, some tiny ass text appears on the screen telling us that, and then we see an attack on Alaska. Right now, we've got JJ arriving um, on a helicopter at the second spot, and we you know, we learn from some interactions that, you know, she used to work there, right? You know, there's something else happening because, you know, there's this stuff like on a door of a room and just all of this. So we learn, okay. And as the film goes on, we get a kind of you know, that backstory. Backstory is, it's the typical thing which they do to a female army navy person, right? Yeah, I mean, I know everyone can imagine what it is, but it's that, right? It's that, and so the film is then showing that, oh no, she's as tough as the rest. You know what I mean? And you know, action wise, you know, it's fine, right? It's dumb as fuck, but it's fine. Like, there is a scene towards the end, right? She has to get from one spot to another. And you're like, okay, this, it would never happen, right? It's just not possible. But as a visual, as a tension setter, it's all right? You'd be like, okay, yeah, all right. She gonna make it? How is she gonna scale this huge gap? Oh, what's happening? You know what I mean? Like, it's fine in that regard. But if you think about it, you're just like, nah. Don't be silly. And then after that, right? After all of this, like climbing two lots of ladders, you just be like, no. No. The other thing is, like, there's a lot of countdowns. You know what I mean? Like, you have 10 seconds to do. And when you know, you think about how long it takes to do a certain thing, then you think about, okay, now do it with an injury. Yeah, it's not happening, right? So, oh, look, there's a lot of things that you'd be like, yeah, that went long, didn't it? It's like, you know, those boxing, you know, that first Wilder Fury fight. Remember when they were just like, wait, hold on, that was longer than a 10 count, right? It's one of them ones where the yeah, time, meh, it's there is a visual aid. It's not working how time is meant to work, right? So you have all of this, you know, they do the action thing. There's a lot of these kind of cut scenes, and you know, people framed in a doorway in perfect poses. You're just like, yeah, no, people don't stand like, people do not stand like that unless someone is going, okay, all right, you move to that side, you go there, right? You're in frame now. Look fearsome, snap, right? That's the only way people are at a fucking doorway posed in this fashion. Otherwise, not happening, right? You have fight scenes, which again, fine, right? They're fine for the purpose of what this is. But logistically, it's just like, all right, you know this person is fucked up, right? So obviously you'd just be doing that one thing, right? It's not going down like that. Right. So yeah, if you think too much about this film, you will go, no. It's not happening. There is another thing as well. There's a point in the film where they reference the fact that how would they know this information? And something is thrown out there which never gets answered. It never gets answered because you'll be like, hold on, yeah, obviously there must be, but never addressed after that point. But yeah, if you don't want to think, right? If you can completely turn your mind and logic off, Interceptor, it can be a fun distraction, right? It would work as a fun distraction because what it's just over an hour and a half. So nothing too crazy, right? So yeah. If after watching Top Gun you're like, yo, what's the next fun military joint? And you have watched all the other stuff, all the other good shit, right? You've gone back, you've done A Few Good Men, you've done those films, and you're like, what else? What else? If you can switch off that logic button in your head, right? Where, none of this makes any sense. You know what I mean? Then, yeah, Interceptor could be for you. It's on Netflix, people. So, yeah. You could just dip in, right? You could dip in. And if it's just like, no, I cannot get away from the fact that this is implausible. Then, yeah, if you could do that, boom, check out Interceptor. Oh, and yeah, you will, right? There again, there's a reason for the salesman footage and why we focus on that salesman. I didn't realize it, but looking at the credits, oh, that makes sense. Because he even gets a cutscene, and you're like, why is there a cutscene? Why would you give that a cutscene? You know what I mean? But yeah, you know what I mean? There's a reason for. It's not really a warranted, valid reason, but you know how these things work, people. But Interceptor is on Netflix, right?